here. Today, we're talking to the Pied Piper of developing real estate brokerages and the ultimate entrepreneur, in my opinion, and a good friend of mine, Rob Flick. Rob, what's up, buddy?
How you doing? How are you doing, Kenner?
I'm living the dream.
Life is good. Thank you very, very much.
I like it. I like it. Speaking of your life, man, speaking of life being good, your life is unbelievable. Your background, there's so many people out there who are going to be blown away by hearing just a little bit about your background. Why don't you go ahead and tell the, the viewers and the audience a little bit about your background, because it's interesting.
Well, I always say I was born at a very early age to get started. Ha ha. Yeah, and I was the kid. I did okay in school, in high school, grade school and high school. Then I went to the Naval Academy, the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis,
Yeah.
Which was really an excellent training. What I learned there more than anything was that there's almost no problem that can't be solved if the right team is put together. And there's no impossibilities. There's only possibilities. Problem solving, that kind of thing. And that if you put your mind to it, whatever you decide that you're going to do and get done, you can get it done. You may just have to figure about coming at it multiple different ways, but there's generally always a solution. And I also learned that team building is excellent and wonderful. And I took from that the idea that I like putting talented people together with talented people, and seeing what comes of it, stepping out of their way and being able to earn something from that collaboration, to a very, very, large extent. After I got out of the Navy, I got into the real estate world, which I really, really enjoyed. I love real estate, all the different aspects of it, so many different things. And I started with Coldwell Banker initially, and right out of the service. And it was funny because when I had my interview with them, they said, and I thought I was having a welcome aboard interview with them. The people are saying, the way it was coming across was, I said, I'm thinking in my mind, this doesn't sound like a welcome aboard talk. This sounds like a see you later, good luck talk. And I said, will you stop for a second? I said that to him. It sounds like you're telling me goodbye. And he said, well, we are. And I said, well, why is that? And they said, well, because, they had given me this real estate test, and they said, you have scored the lowest score anyone has ever gotten on this test. You didn't get one single question right. And I was like, well, I didn't know that. The only thing I'd been doing was, in the Navy, driving ships, flying airplanes, doing fun stuff like that. If you'd asked me about that, I'd have done wonderful. But you were asking me about stuff I have zero knowledge. And I said, you know what? This could be your lucky day. And he says, what do you mean? I said, I don't have any bad habits in real estate. And I said, I do have some skills, and I'm good with people. I'm quick, and I'm a team builder. I get everything going. I said, I have no bad habits. You can actually mold me exactly what you want. You can create the ultimate winner. This could be good news for you. And he looked at me and he said, just a minute. And he went into another room. I could hear him talking on the phone with someone else. And he came back and he said, we're going to give you a shot.
Really? You sold him.
And then we brought him on, and off I went. Yeah. And just before that, like 3 days before that, I'd had an interview with Prudential as far as, Merrill Lynch, and for being a stockbroker, right? And they did a role play with me, and they said, I'm sorry, we can't use you. You have absolutely no sales skills at all. And so, boom, okay, that was out. And now, last year, my band of real estate agents that I helped, teach and develop and bring to the company, our volume was reported. I just found out my volume for 2003 was $58 billion in sales.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that we can do some sales, no question about it. But that's how I got started. I really, really liked and enjoyed it. I was doing office buildings, high rises, garden office parks, that thing. I was in the commercial end, and I thought life had arrived. Everything was really going like fantastic. And then I found out I had cancer, and I went into the hospital, and they said, it doesn't look real good. We're going to have to do something, probably surgery. And it looks like it's spread quite a bit. So we're not sure we're not going to be able to radiate you because, we can't pinpoint it like today. Is a lot different. This is 40 years ago. And so they said, we're just going to open you up, and we're going to take out everything that we can that you aren't going to need, everything cancerous and anything around it if at all possible. And then we're going to zip you up and wish you good luck and hope we got it all. But in the meantime, you probably should get your affairs in order. That was very, very scary.
Mm.
And so while I was in the hospital, one of the things that went through my head, I mean, there was a lot of things, but one of the things I thought is when I beat this, and I never thought I wouldn't beat it. I always thought, you know, it was doable and it was going to be fine. So I never really had a negative thought that this was the end, you know. And so I said, I want to develop a passive income stream. I didn't know the word residual, and I'm not super creative. I'm not going to create something that's going to change the world. I can't sing. I'm actually, paid not to sing.
Mm.
And then I've only sung twice. Once was sober, once was drunk. Both were terrible. Didn't matter. I did karaoke 2 times in my life. Forget it. That's the end of that. But um, I I wanted to create something that was passive. So I can't sing, I can't invent, but I'm an incredible editor. So when I see an
Mm.
idea that looks good that I think is maybe being explained wrong or incorrectly or not the way I would do it or inefficiently, my opinion wise, I'm good at putting something together to create. I was always the guy that was, the captain of everything because I was good at picking team, picking talent, picking
Mm.
people that were good in their position, and then getting out of the way and letting them do their thing.
Mhm.
Which for some people is very, very difficult. They want to micromanage. I've never been a micromanager. I've always
Mm.
been a big picture person. I've always built a vision of what can be if we do something, build something team wise, that we all play our part. Some people are better than others at different things, but together as a whole, we can be as good or better than anyone. And I've always felt that way.
Yeah, so yeah, you definitely have a talent for putting together teams, and I think
Yes.
you're not giving yourself very much credit. You're smart, you're creative, you get the whole deal. I believe me, I know you well enough to know that. So, what is it that? Why do you think you've been so successful in creating teams? I mean, it's unbelievable what you've done. I mean, as you mentioned, your group sent over $2 billion with a B, not with an M. You know what I mean? What is it
We
that's the
sold
reason for your success?
56 billion. Yeah. 5, 6 billion. That's a
Oh, I'm
lot.
sorry. I don't. Yeah, yeah. I
Not a
misspoke.
problem. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
the it's in building that vision again, saying getting people to work together, showing them how they can actually be more profitable than they have been in the past, working within the confines or opportunities within different real estate platforms, and working on the best I can. Knowing that they always listen to the same radio station, WIIFM, What's in
Hmm.
it for me?
Hmm.
And I just had a unique way of being able to explain things
Mm.
so they understand it from their perspective, not for me.
Mm.
Like people have said, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll automatically get what you want. And I've
Mhm.
known that from a really early age all the time, that I've got to know what's in it for them, what they're looking for. So
Mm.
one of the things I do is ask lots and lots and lots of questions before I
Mm.
start splurging, spewing on them, if you will. I want to find out every single thing I can about them, what motivates them,
Mm.
what they need, what they're not getting, what their goals are, what their plan are, what their exit plan is, what their retirement plan is, what lifestyle they want, what do they want to do for their kids, their
Mhm.
parents, the community, do they think giving back? I mean, I really want to know everything possibly about them, knowing then enough. I'm more of a coach and a counselor, if I would say that. I've got
Mm.
different things that can really help you in a different area, and then explain it, because a lot of people that are successful are semi set in their ways, and a lot of people resist change. They don't want to. If they can avoid change, most people will. Very few people move towards the positive. They move away from the negative or pain, as
Mhm.
opposed to pleasure. Pain or pleasure. People move more often, in my experience, from pain than pleasure. Um, and so I want to find out what their pain point is, what it is they're missing, what they need,
Mm.
what can enhance them better, so that they can utilize their talents be most effective for them, and their family. And I'm relentless. It's like my mission. And my deal is, listen, I want to help you develop a residual or a passive income from and because of the real estate industry, which I really, really like. And
Mhm.
I think real estate agents, you know, um, don't make the money that they can make. Most people don't understand the expenses that go along, and that brokerages take certain things. I mean, it's not what people think.
Mhm.
The word out there. The average real estate agent. gross is about 65,000 a year. There are a few that make a whole lot more. Yes, you know, um,
Hmm.
but it isn't really what people think. It isn't like, oh, real estate agents are wealthy. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they come there a lot of times because it's you've got to be a hard worker. It's a very task oriented business, but it's also a very help oriented business. So you've got to be a teacher, you've got to be a counselor, you've got to be, a nurse. At times, it just seems like you've got to handle. You got to be a fireman because you're putting out fires every which way, and you're dealing with people's generally their most expensive investment they're ever going to make in their life,
Mm-hmm.
or their biggest one anyway. And so, there's really a lot to work on. And I've always known that if it's working together as a group, as a team, we can do way more than 1+1 doesn't equal 2. 1+1 equals 100 if it's the right 1+1. You know what I mean? So I'm always looking for the opportunities and the real estate companies that are open to different avenues for real estate agents.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That makes sense. Now I understand why I did, I'm jokingly but seriously calling you the Pied Piper. I get it. So let me ask. So I should know this. I really don't know this. Do you have any content as far as some of your ideas as far as building teams? Do you have
Yeah, I
webinars
do.
out there, et cetera, et cetera? I should know that.
I do. In fact, if you go, and I haven't posted, and other people have posted these things for me, but because I'm just seriously non-technical, you can't even believe it. I mean, I don't. And if I'm doing, a group text, that's a big deal. And, I grew up when telephones were tied to the wall, were bolted to the wall. You could only walk 6 or 10 feet away. We didn't have a cell phone at 3 years old back then.
Yeah,
Back then, if I wanted privacy, I'd go to Radio Shack and get a 50-foot cord and run out to the backyard. I mean, that was privacy.
yeah.
So it's you've come a long way, baby. In all that, in all that, in all that time. So, what was your question again? I'm sorry.
How does one get your content? Because you do have
Oh, right.
content as far as
Yeah,
teamwork, et cetera.
yeah, yeah. Well, I've been recorded a few times on YouTube, and if,
Have
if
you?
you if you look up YouTube and search for Rob Flick, you'll find all kinds of different videos. I have one specifically. If you search on YouTube, Rob Flick Wealth Chart Training, I show within the EXP model how to be able to go from zero to $500,000 a year in residual income for helping build the company. They have a revenue share model that is unparalleled in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reason we've gone from, in the last 7 years, we've gone from 600 agents to almost 90,000 agents, of which I'm responsible for somewhere above 70,000 of them.
Yeah.
And, directly and indirectly working through other people and helping, teaching, training them to go. So it's a pretty significant group. And so there's one there. Another one shows up, and I don't know what to call it. And that first one is 26 minutes long. It's
Mm-hmm.
really, really good. It gives scripts and dialogues, what to do, what not to do. It's kind of hokey. The first one I ever did, but I got the point across. Everybody was clamoring how you were able to do what you've done,
Yeah.
and so I just put that together relatively quickly. And then there's another one that shows up too when you do that, when you search the YouTube, and it's me in a purple shirt, and I don't have a name for it, so I just say it's the purple shirt video. And that one is about 90 minutes long, and that is everything you ever want, really deep dive into what EXP is all about, the different avenues and functions, and what's available for the different agents, how to go about it, how to talk to individuals, groups, teams, more, brokerages, all of that together. It is gold. And some of my top people have utilized that video, and they would get maybe some of their team together. They would show 10 or 15 minutes of it. Like they'd get together on a Saturday morning and have pizza and pop, and they'd play 10 or 15 or 20 minutes of that video. Then they'd stop it and talk about it and how it would affect them. How would they do? Then play it again for 15 or 20, stop it and talk again, and teaching and training. And that was really how we developed thousands and thousands of agents to the company, in a very, 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 I guess, quick fashion. I mean, I don't think anyone's that I'm
Mm-hmm.
aware of has gone from 0 to 90,000 in 6-7 years. That's kind of incredible. And then there's another one of me speaking in Cabo. I think it says Rob Flick Cabo. And that's about a 25-minute or something like that. Pretty much my story, things were going on. And just some tidbits, motivational things for agents of what can be done, where they can go, and sort of what happened to me and what I went through a little bit. People have told me that one's really spectacular. I have not seen it, although I was there when I did it, right? But as soon as I walked off stage, people say, wow, that was incredible. And I'd already forgotten, now I'm on to something else. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm always in the future, trying not to deal in the past, even if it's 10 minutes ago. It's a weird thing with me.
Yeah, you're a mover and shaker. I saw that one, by the way. I was in Cabo for that. I will say that was a very, very good one. And maybe that's partly why why there's here, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. You probably didn't know this. I know of an insurance company that's putting together a model just like you've put together,
Right.
that's been replicated. I know a commercial property loan origination outfit that's doing the same thing,
Right.
modeling basically some of your thoughts as far as team building, which is unbelievable. I think it's huge. That shows that what you've done has worked out. So let's kind of transition a little bit into entrepreneurship, because I know for a fact that you're an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. So let's say there's someone who's a new entrepreneur out there, maybe a new real estate agent or a new whatever, they're selling widgets. What are some of the suggestions you would provide to them to really get them going to the next level, as an example?
Oh, okay. Well, the first thing I would probably tell them, and this is old news, but I would tell them to get Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant book.
Mm.
It's called the cash flow quadrant. Kiyosaki's the rich dad, poor dad guy,
Mm-hmm.
but his second book, Cash Flow Quadrant, to me was probably the most powerful speaking to me.
Hmm.
It was how to go from an employee to self-employed to business owner and investor. And for any entrepreneur, that was a really big thing.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing was what made me an entrepreneur was I always wanted to know why, if I could get something done in 4 hours, I had to stick around for 8 hours because everyone else took 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I get paid more for productivity? And whenever I was in a situation where everybody got paid to say, this is how much you made no matter what, I didn't want a guarantee. I didn't want a floor. But then again, I didn't want a ceiling. So I was always willing and confident in myself enough that I would do the absolute best. I'm used to coming in, first or second or third in just about everything that I do when I really concentrate on it. And there's a lot of people out there that are the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't like, when people say, I want you to do this. And my question was, why? I used to talk to my parents about that all the time. They probably couldn't stand it after a while, I'm sure, teachers. And they would say, this is that. And I go, why? What
Mm-hmm.
makes you do? Why do we have to do that this way? Just like in doing math. I was really, really, really quick with math.
Mm-hmm.
And the teachers would say, well, and I would give them the answer and they'd say, how'd you figure it? I said, I did it this way. And they say, well, that's not how we want you to do it. We want you to do this way. And I said, what does it matter? I got the answer. I got
Mm-hmm.
it right. And I got it faster and quicker than anybody else here. Why are you making me slow down and do what you do if I can do it better?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like same thing in science and medicine. When new things come along, the rank and file tend to resist change, and you're looked at as weird, odd, radical until and you're attacked, or your work is, and then it becomes, you prove it over and over again, then it becomes acceptable, then it becomes liked, and then it becomes, everybody talks about it. So I would say for an entrepreneur, find something that you love to do that you truly believe in, because it's going to be hard work in the beginning. Most times you're going to work a lot harder most times than the average person with a job, a 40-hour work week. I've never, in everything I've ever done entrepreneurially, I've never put in a 40-hour work week. It's always more. You're always on call. It's like a business person, no
Mm-hmm.
question. You're basically always on call. You're always available. Things come up. Your employees look to you for an answer. You've got to be a step ahead of them. And I would say, take a look at where you are and look around and see what's missing, what's needed. What do you know and understand the most, where you're finding there seems to be a bottleneck or something that's not provided or something that takes a significant time to be provided, or a widget that will change the way something works or does.
Mm-hmm.
If you can add value, money comes. If you add value and you learn to leverage people's intelligence and technology, it can very, very happen. And I would say that some of the best things, inventions, are yet to come. And I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of it is going to be in the technological field. Over the last 50 years, 100 years, we've moved so forward. I read a lot of books, about where we're headed, what's going on, the changes. there is so many changes that are happening just in the last 4 or 5 years in the medical field, in the technology field, in the nanotechnology field, in artificial intelligence now is the biggest thing, or is the hot topic. There's
Hmm.
just so many things coming along that you want to look for something where you're giving great service. You're either creating a function, a service, you're helping someone, or you're solving a problem. When you're looking for money, you've got to be able to say, you got to be able to explain the problem that you're wanting to fix.
Hmm.
Then you've got to explain how big that current market is. Are you looking for just a local market, a regional, a national, international? How big do you think this thing is? And what is your solution to find it? And is it scalable? Can you do it yourself? Can you teach 5 people? Can you teach 500, 5,000? You know what I mean? So you've got to do something that is, my opinion, that solves a problem or fills a need for the masses,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? As best you can.
Well, people have got to learn about it, meaning, because I think you're a very good marketer. Actually, I know you're a very good marketer. So what have you done for, as far as marketing goes, for, building out your real estate world and maybe to other entrepreneurs, but really the real estate world? What would you say, what's been part of your success as far as marketing goes?
Well, I can tell you it's really a grassroots word of mouth type of thing. I truly have never been a social media person. Some people are fantastic on doing that. Um, I remember one time I was asked to film a commercial, and because they like my act, they like what I did and how I went, and I had to read something on a monitor, and I stunk terribly. Oh my God, it
Ah,
was bad. Like, no, 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 we got to just have him free flow. And my thing is, I'm looking for leaders. I'm a penny doubled kind of person. I mean, before a long time ago, it's this cliche thing. What would you rather have, $100,000 to do this task, or a penny doubled for a month? And most people say, oh, 100,000, of course. Well, if you do the penny doubled a month, it's like 5 or 10 million. It's significantly more. Well, that's the same kind of thing. I want to find 2 people that I can teach and train to get motivated. I'll help each of them find 2 people to teach and get motivated. I'll help them find 2 people or to teach and motivate. And my simple thing, when this last company I built, EXP, my simple thing was, I'm going to enroll, recruit, attract, whatever you want to call it, 2 agents a month somewhere in the United States that like the program and the platform, that want to come over. So
hmm.
if I can do 2 a month, 2 a month, 2 a month, I figure I'll have to probably talk to 8 or 10 agents a month to have 2 join. That was my thought process. Now
Hmm.
I'm looking for people that will do the same thing. So if I can get 2 a month, 2 a month, and I can get one of those to get 2 a month, 2 a month, and one of those to get, and one of theirs to get 2 a month and 2 a month, and I got to the point where I started doing group presentations, because I had so many people that wanted me to do the presentation. And I said, you know what? I said, we're really looking for people who are looking for us. We're not going to convince people against their will to
Hmm.
drop what they're doing and come do what we're doing. We're looking for people who are of the same mindset. So that's what I'm looking for: energy. I'm looking for coachable, if they're coachable and teachable. I'm looking for their positive energy, their attraction energy, that kind of thing. They're problem solvers, not problem makers. And um, and so then when I find, I get a group of them, a good core solid group, and we keep going. We did that to the point where um, we got tens of thousands of agents that came aboard, and I never once ever did a social media blast or things on there. I post things on my life, from time to time, but I really don't even do that very much anymore.
Hmm.
It's just, and I started doing regional trainings, then national trainings. Then I started for the leaders, for the leadership, which is
Hmm.
normally, the top 4 or 5% really drive everything. You may have 100,000 people, but there's probably 4 or 5 thousand that drove that in a big
Yeah.
way, from what
Yeah.
I've seen. So I was looking for the 1 or 2 people. When I looked at a person, I'm saying, does this person represent 1,000 future agents? Does he or she have the energy, have the drive, have the um, stick to itness, if you will, to just keep doing over and over? What I do is not very sexy. The results are really sexy, but
Hmm.
what I do is not. It's actually almost kind of boring a little bit. I mean, it is fun to see people's reactions and yes and no. And what I really love is the excuses. My game is, what, I have heard almost every excuse. Give me one. It doesn't matter what they are. I've got a whole book full of them, but
Hmm.
any one you use will work. Here, let me give you a book. Pick which one you want to use. If you don't want to do this, you're not going to do it. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, I can't. I have to wash my cat. What? That is nothing. I know. It doesn't matter what it is. Or no, I'm sorry. I'm vacuuming today. Oh, okay. So in other words, it doesn't. It absolutely. I lost my wrench. Whatever. It doesn't matter what the excuse is. If you want to do it, you're coachable and teachable, and you have the energy to do that, and you can affect people in a positive way, and you're a servant-oriented person, not a taker. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I tried to build the culture of to make that happen. And it just really caught fire. And then I started doing leadership trainings internationally,
Mm-hmm.
and giving people a chance to be able to get away from everything so they can really concentrate. And then I started highlighting the people that had small victories. Like I could help an
Mm-hmm.
agent make an extra couple $1,000s a month. It's not life changing to a lot of people, but to that person it was. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started helping people make 400, 500, 1,700 passive, 1,000, 2,000, 5, 10,000, 20, 100. That was exciting to the point I don't want to just parade across all these people I've helped make $1 million a year, although I've helped quite a few people do that. My goal is, are we increasing and enhancing the lives of those people and their families,
Mm-hmm.
right? Are we doing other things to enhance people outside of our arena? Like I always feel, someone should give back. I think it's really important that if you're blessed in a very big way, that you give back.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to make a very large donation, a 7-figure donation to my high school when in
Quite big.
Scottsdale, Arizona, for scholarships, for the bottom, for trade schools, for the bottom 20% of the class, you know, and to
Mm.
give them a shot to go
That's
after and get something, right? Because the top people are going to be taken care of, but I wanted people to be able to have an opportunity no matter what, so that they can be able to. I mean, there's a lot of trades out there that there's 6-figure incomes in some of these trades. I've got some friends that have welding come. There are welders making 100 grand. There are AC people making 100 grand. There are it's an opportunity for people to not have to think they're going to be at minimum wage for their whole life. That was a big thing to give back. And there was a lot of crying and hugging and with the families. And I said, I'm willing to do this, but I want to celebrate the families too for getting their kids to that point. So it's not just the kids. Let's recognize the kids, yes, but let's
mm-hmm.
recognize the family, the mothers and the brothers and sisters and parents. And I mean, it turns into it's really mushy, but like this little love fest, crying, everybody's happy. They can't believe what they're doing. And to hear these dreams of kids who really didn't have it, that's what drives me. That's what really makes me excited. Not just people at the higher end,
Yeah.
but I should work with everybody that you can, affect everybody in a positive way if possible. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what I really feel that way.
And also being a good leader, yeah, a listener. I think you're right. I think you're exactly right. You hit the head of the nail when you said you're a good listener, because I know you are. So since we only have a few minutes, what's one thing? Give me this. What's one thing either a real estate agent or an entrepreneur has not heard in this podcast thus far, this episode, that you think will help going forward, either a real estate agent or an entrepreneur?
Okay, I would say get a mentor. Get somebody who has gone where you want to go. Most people decide what they want to do for a living just because they've heard about it, but they've never interviewed people that do that. And
Mm-hmm.
I ask people all the time, why do you want to do this? Well, I've just always thought about it. Have you interviewed anybody that has done this, that has gone through, that can, walking through a minefield thing? You follow the person who's done it, you're going to be okay. The I would find a mentor, find somebody who has done what you want to do in the level that you want to do, has the lifestyle that you want, and then see if they will coach you and mentor you. There may be a fee, they may charge you, they may say, "Yeah, keep up with me." But trust me, if you invest in yourself in that way, I don't know that there's anything better you can have than somebody that believes in you, that will help you, that will encourage you, that will open doors for you, that will give you ideas for you, that will coach
Hmm.
and mentor you. I think that is priceless to have, especially a super successful mentor. I think that is,
Mm-hmm.
without question, makes a difference. I mean, when I see people all the time, if they're getting coaches or not, some of the best athletes have 5 and 6 different coaches.
Yeah.
They say, wonder how they do that. Well, because they've got people that coach them, in running and blocking and throwing and catching and hitting a golf ball, swinging a bat, whatever. they happen to do. Same thing with actors. Actors don't just show up, most of them, and just be brilliant. They have to have a coach or teacher, trainer, or a mentor. And I think that's probably the best single thing that anybody can do is find someone who's done what you want to do to the level you believe it can be done, and then do what they've done and plus it and see if you can outdo what they've done.
Dude, you're a stud. Man, I wish you and I could talk for hours, and I would learn for hours. And I think everyone listening and watching this can learn and learn and learn. So I'm going to have you on for another one if that's okay. I'm going to talk you into it. But now, sadly, we have to close up shop. But what I want to say is thank you to not only you, but also the people who are out there watching and listening, because I think there's I know there are a lot of things that can be gleaned and learned from someone like you. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Kenner.
Once again, Kenner French signing off. Dude, you're a stud, man. Yeah, I want to do